Hello everyone, my name is Alan. Nice to meet you. Can I come in for a little bit? I'm a little thirsty, just water will be fine. Oh, you got a really nice house here. You keep the doors locked at night? Well, yeah, I know it's a weird question to ask, but I just thought I'd ask. It's a dangerous neighborhood around here. I thought I'd ask if you kept the doors locked, especially your basement. Oh, how did I know you had a basement? 'Cause that's where I came from just a second ago. And the movie started. Alright, there we go. Hello everyone, Z3KO Trinity. I got a question for you. How easy is it to be tricked by a stranger? Have y'all ever met someone or seen someone and they came up to you and gave you a fake story, something about their life, something about just some kind of story, and you trusted this person, and they turned out to be a stranger? Today, we're going to be talking about strangers. Strangers, to me, is the number one most terrifying real thing that could happen. Because we don't know anything about these strangers. We see these people as we pass them by in stores. We see these people as we go walking in the park. Whenever we're out and about, or we could even just be home and have a knock on the door and there will be a stranger at our door. We have no idea what their intentions are. We have no idea what they could do, what they're capable of doing. Strangers are the number one most terrifying real horror in the world. Have y'all experienced anything with a stranger before? Yes, Levi. They tell everyone in school not to get in a car with strangers. I'm sorry you were one of the few that got in the car with them. Get back up here. But strangers, not always is someone that you know. Strangers can be somebody that you've known for years or thought you knew for years and turns out to be a complete different person. Today's video has been brought to you by this really cool shirt right here. My fiance gave it to me and I absolutely love it. And no, I don't have my horror vlog pajamas on. They're in the wash currently. I was really upset because the new thing I want to do for the channel is whenever you guys come to watch the horror vlog, you must have your horror pajamas on. That's right. It's my only requirement. Nah, just kidding. But back to the serious talk about strangers. Have y'all ever had a experience with a stranger? Or experience with someone that you thought you've known but turned out to be a stranger? See, I have a very weird story to tell you. My neighbor, one day, I was coming home, and he was parked in the middle of the road. His house is literally 2 minutes from where he parked. And I can't get around him. I can't back up or anything. Nothing like that. So I'm just stuck behind him. So I get out of my vehicle, and I go over, and he's asleep in the car. So I knock on the window, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, are you okay? You need any kind of help?" And then he just starts acting really weird. I mean, he was like, and then started looking at me, and I said, "Is everything okay? I need to get by, and I saw you parked here. I thought maybe something was wrong." And he was just like, and it terrified me. Like, I didn't know really what to do. I had no cell phone signal, nothing. So I know this guy, but yet he's a stranger to me because I don't personally know him that well. I don't know what his mentality is. So it starts pouring the rain, and I'm like, well, if everything is fine, I need you to get out of the way so I can get past you. And he just, he just kept eye contact with me and everything. So I start getting back in my car, and I'm expecting him to, move and get out of the way. Still sits there. So I'm just kind of like waiting and waiting, and then I get really terrified. I get on the phone. I didn't have the best signal at all, but thank God that I was able to call my parents. And I said, hey, I told them what happened, told them everything that the neighbor had done. And I was like, listen, if I don't make it home within, I told him, I said, I'm going to get out of my vehicle again. I'm going to go and talk to him once again. If I don't show up in 10 minutes, call the cops. And it was very, very scary. Anything could have happened. I could have got up there. He could have shot me. He could have knifed me. He could have done anything. But I got out of the vehicle, walked back up to his vehicle. He was once again asleep in the car. So I start knocking on the window, and immediately he just like jumps up, grabs the wheel, and then starts going. So I get back in my car and I go home. It's a small story, but in that moment it was someone I knew, but at the same time it's a complete stranger, because I didn't know what he could do, what his mentality is. I didn't know what would happen. I've also had friends before that I thought I could trust, and they have put me in positions that I never want to be in. It's a terrifying thing. I didn't even say say hello to you guys. What's up, Matthew? Thank you for joining. El Manuel, thank you. Mr. Isaac, yeah, it is too hot for pajamas, but I'm wearing them anyway. But yeah, who can you really trust? Because a stranger could be a family member. A stranger could be like your best friend. Someone you've never met. And, yeah, but that is the truth. Strangers is the number one most realistic, scariest thing in the world. Did you ever find out what was wrong? No, I didn't. There's only one other time he's ever been parked in the middle of the road like that. And he was saying, oh, I'm sorry, I was doing some kind of paperwork, and he got out of my way again. But I told my dad about it whenever I got home, and my dad was like, listen, because I used to go walking up and down the road, and my dad's like, listen, I don't think you should get anywhere near them. So I'm just kind of keeping my own distance. And I hope I'm not put in that same position. But I was told that if I was put in that same position, instead of me approaching him as I did, they wanted me to go ahead and call the cops to come and check on him. Like if I was to approach and he's awake, that's fine. But if I approach and he's like asleep once again, then I'll back off and try to get a hold of somebody. But ever consider hiring a stranger, whether it's to clean your house, whether it's to watch your dogs or cats, or even babysit your kids? After I watched this movie that I'm about to review, I will never hire someone to babysit my kids. What is up, Count Von Strange, number 4? Welcome to the horror vlog, where we talk about anything horror. Today's episode consists of strangers. And if you have a story that you guys want to share about an encounter with a stranger, it doesn't have to be a book long, but if you have a story that you feel like you should share about strangers, go ahead. I have another story about strangers. I was actually approached one day by this guy, and he was like, hey man, do you have any cigarettes? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't smoke. And he was like, well, that's a shame, you really should have told me yes. And I said, well, I don't have the cigarettes. I don't smoke, so obviously I can't say yes. And the guy started getting like even weirder and kept hanging around and just watching. Now finally, I got it was me and my friends. We were walking, and we finally got to like the ranger station where the actual police and stuff were. So we hung around there for a while, but he finally disappeared, and I had no idea where he went. I know that that's a scary thing in itself because he could have just followed us home or whatever, but yeah, it's just stuff like that happens on a daily basis. People will approach you. And I got one other story. One last one before I get into the movie review. Me and my mom, my brother, and my fiance, we are in the movie theater. And we were watching The Book Club. Of all movies, The Book Club. Because my mom and them wanted to see that. Which was a very good movie. I would highly recommend you guys to watch it. But this woman walks in, and I immediately start thinking, like, well, she's a little late for the movie. It's done halfway, like, half the movie's done, went on. And she's, like, walking, like, really slow. I mean, she was, like, just straight faced. And then her turns was just straight. Everything about her was just, like, weird. She was moving very slow. She approached. It was only me, Mom, Jeremy, my fiance in the theater. Then down below us is two older women. That was it. The theater was empty. She walks up the stairs and approaches the two old women, and I actually hear what she says. She says, "Do you have any money for food?" And the two old women says, "Sorry, we don't carry cash on us." And then she just immediately stops, moves slower, and I could tell she's like higher than a kite or something. So she comes up to our way. She's like, "Y'all have any money for food?" And we're like, "No, sorry, we cash with us." And she starts going like back down the stairs. She was heading for the exit door. Now I'm sure you guys know what happened during the Dark Knight movie. So in my mind, I'm picturing this girl's about to open the exit door, tell her drug addict friend or whoever's out that door that we don't have the cash. They come in, either try to rob us, like hold us at gunpoint, say, "Give us what you have," or anything. Like, so many thoughts are racing in my head at that moment. But the two older women called the cops while this woman was still in the theater, and she finally went back out the correct door. She was headed for the exit, but then she went back out the regular door. And I did not see her or hear anything else from her. But anything could have happened. Like, if we would have, I mean, it was just us and those two women. She could have pulled out a gun. She could have done anything. I mean, endless possibilities. And it was scary. It was really scary. But today, after I seen this movie, I never, ever, ever will hire a babysitter for my kids. It's a Netflix movie called Emily. And I gotta take you guys with me so I can show you because my computer's being a dick today. Let's see, turn the camera. Yeah, that is what it's called, Emily. It's a 2016 movie, but they just put it on Netflix. This is kind of like of it going on. But, yeah, it is one of the most messed up movies I have ever watched. It really wasn't like gory, like a gore movie. It was more of a suspense and, oh my god, that creepy kind of thing. What it's about is these parents. Well, I'll start at the beginning of the movie. Literally at the beginning of this movie, let me set the mood for you. Literally at the beginning of this movie, it starts off with a girl in the park, and it looks like someone's like recording in a bush. And this girl is walking on her cell phone saying, "I'm sorry I can't make it to the party this evening. I have to babysit these people's kids." And she's like, "It's going to be an extra few dollars of cash, and I really could use the cash, and blah, 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 blah. She's like walking in this park. And then this black car pulls up. And you just hear, hey, do you know how I can get to this place? And then the girl starts to tell her how. And this guy's like walking by, like near behind her. And he's all, she goes, hey, excuse me, can you help her out with directions? I'm not very good with directions. So he starts to tell this person in the black vehicle directions of where to go. And all of a sudden he grabs that girl. She's like screaming, but he's got her muffled because he's got his hand over her mouth. And he like drags her into the car. And then the car speeds off. And that's literally where the movie begins. But the way they filmed it and the way they did it was so realistic. It gave me goosebumps when I first saw it. I was like, oh shit, what kind of movie's this? Then the parents, it comes time for the parents to go pick up this babysitter. And they see the dark-haired girl, which her real name is Emily, but she calls herself the girl that they kidnapped at the beginning. And that's not a big spoiler because you could pretty much figure it out quick in the movie. But they pick her up. She's all innocent. And the parents get there. They introduce her to the kids. There's 3 kids. The oldest son, which his name is Jacob, he's about, I would say, 9 to 10. The youngest one, the next one in line is their daughter. She's about 7 or 8, maybe 6 or 7, one of those two. And then the youngest kid, Christopher, which is about 5 or 4 years old. But they introduce them. Everything's going okay. She seems like the perfect babysitter. And then the parents leave. Then immediately things start slowly progressing as they go along. Like, she tells them that they don't have to be a girl, they don't have to be a boy. There's no gender, there's nothing like that. You could pretend to be whatever you want. And so the kids start putting on these costumes and stuff like that. And the girl, she's like, will you dress up or pretend with us? And then she's all like, I already am. And she said, but you got to be careful, because you could pretend so good that you just don't even know you're doing it. And then slowly the movie progresses and it gets more messed up as it goes along. For example, and this doesn't really spoil anything, but I just want to give you guys the idea of how messed up this movie is. The babysitter says it's time to watch a movie. And she puts on some kind of porno. I mean, you don't see it, but you clearly hear it. And she's making the little kids watch it. She's making, like, everything. I mean, the 7-year-old girl's watching this. The little boy's watching it. I mean, it's just a really messed up moment. You have really sold me on this movie. I've added it to my list. Isaac, dude, at first I thought I would hate this movie. But once I learned the true story in this movie and saw the ending, it's one of my favorite movies. Maybe not like top 10 favorite, but it's definitely a movie I would love to watch again. It was very good. I would highly recommend you guys to watch this movie. It's called Emily. Fantastic. The actress herself really sold the crazy psycho character. I mean, she did a great job, and the children actors in this movie did an excellent job as well. I love the way they filmed it. The filming style was really good. I love how they told the whole story. It was a great movie. It was a random movie. I just kind of saw it was new on Netflix, so I just clicked it and watched it, and I'm glad I did. But after watching that movie, I will never hire another babysitter. I'm saying another babysitter like I have before, but if I have a kid, I am not hiring some random person to watch my kid. Because her story was completely different, and she was a stranger. But here's some examples I thought you guys would like. Let me shed some light on this situation. Or color, I mean. Here's a couple of other really good babysitting style horror movies that I think you guys would like. Number 5, Better Watch Out. It's a Christmas style babysitting movie that was really good. I think you guys would like it. Number 4, called The Sitter, has a really great plot twist. It's similar to Emily, but still different. But it also has a great plot twist, so check that one out. Number 3, the classic When a Stranger Calls. And I didn't know this, but there's actually a sequel called When a Stranger Calls Again. I've never seen that one, so I'm going to have to get my hands on that to watch it. But When a Stranger Calls, I can read your mind. Scream is number 1. Number 2 is Babysitter, the Netflix movie, The Babysitter. And Isaac, he called it. Number 1 was Scream. Another one I want to throw out there, I just now remembered it, but it's Babysitter Wanted. I've talked about it before in a random episode of Horror Vlog, but I can't remember which one exact. I think it was back when I was doing the good, the bad, the what the fuck kind of movie. But yeah, Babysitter Wanted, another excellent one. But strangers can be anyone at any time, even someone you would call a friend. And like I said, the scariest thing about strangers is how they're unpredictable. We both forgot about Halloween. I thought of Halloween to add to the list, but I didn't quite know if it was a babysitting style movie. But I guess you're right. We could count it in the category. There's also a movie called The Nanny that's really good that you guys should check out too. But strangers are so unpredictable, and it's just... Do you guys have any stories that you've told? I don't think so, but... Let's see, Isaac says, I don't have any full stories about strangers, but people have tried to pick me up in cars while I was walking thinking I was hitchhiking. I've got another story about that too. She was the It Follows monster? See, I've never watched It Follows because I've heard it was a very bad movie. What do you think about that movie, It Follows? If you guys think I should at least watch it and give it a try, I will. But I've just heard that movie was like really bad. But I've got another story to tell you guys. What was it that Isaac had said that reminded me of it? Oh, hitchhiking, yeah. So one time I was walking in the park, and I like to go walking in parks a lot. But I was walking in the park for a while, and then I was going to meet up with my parents. They were at the grocery store, so I was walking from the park to the grocery store. This green truck pulls beside me. Guy opens the door, and he goes, "Get in." He didn't say, "Hey, do you need a ride?" or nothing like that. He just says, "Get in." And I'm like, "Oh, no thanks. I don't need a ride or anything." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "No, I'm just walking for the fun of it." And he goes, "Well, get in." And I'm like, "No, I don't need a ride." And then I thought for a second he was trying to like get out of his vehicle, but no, he literally bolted and just left. And that was it. Short story. Another ending that could have ended badly. He could have been like, "I said get in the car! I said get in the car!" But, yeah, that was another bad experience that I've had with a stranger. What else? I feel like there's a major one. Oh, I've told this story before in my horror vlog. Oh, wait. I like it. It was too hyped up for me, so I didn't like it as much as people told me. But it's a slow burn horror movie, and I really love those. So I noticed that you like the more detail, the better. So, like, the more slow paced the movie to catch those little details, the better that you like. So I might give it a shot just for your sake. But I think I remember the story. It's an older story, but there was a person that knocked on our door, and I opened the door to see what they wanted. And they were like, hey, could you guys spare some gas? And I said, well, um, our gas tanks are empty out here, and which that probably is a lie, but I said, I just kind of off the top of my head, I'm like, well, we don't have any, they're all empty right now. And he was just like, okay, and then he leaves. Well, I thought he left, but then he started like circling the house. Like we've seen him out the window circling the house, and I was like, oh, he's gonna steal something. So we just like kept an eye out and kept watching and kept watching, and finally he just gets back in his truck and leaves, and I've never seen him since. We have another similar situation where a truck drove up. It was about 3 a.m. My mom was still awake. She heard a truck pull up and then just park. My mom was looking out the window, and she just saw the headlights there parked down our road. No movement. And then she said they got out of the vehicle, started walking up our hill, and she said she couldn't see exactly what they were doing, but then they started walking back to their truck. She said they didn't have nothing in their hand, but they walked back to their truck, pulled up our thing, and then backed out, and we've never seen them since. So, just very, very creepy. Block a troll. What troll is it? Jacob, block this troll. I don't see what your... I don't think any of his comments are coming through. At least not on my end. All I'm seeing is your comments. But anyway, the next movie, or the next question I have for you guys is Truth or Dare. Have you ever played that before? Have you ever been dared to do something that you never wanted to do? Were you forced to do this dare that you were dared to do? I used to play Truth or Dare a lot when I was a kid. But we never did like extreme stuff like I dare you to kill someone. Back when me and my brother were kids, there was these two twin girls that used to come up to our house. My dad was real good friends with their dad, which we're no longer friends with them, and I haven't seen them since then, but I can vaguely remember the two twin girls. They had to have been at least 13 or 14, and me and my brother, I believe I was like 11 at that time, and he was 8 years old. Well, they were acting really sexual. We were jumping on the trampoline, and they were just being real weird and being sexual and stuff like that. And then, like, I didn't think nothing of it. I was too young anyway to think of that stuff. But we got back in my brother's room, and they wanted to play Truth or Dare. I told them I didn't want to play, but Jeremy, he was young and he thought it would be fun, so they did. And I was in the room too, and they were just doing simple stuff like I dare you to go in there and get me a pop or something like that. And then one time, now if my memory serves me correct, but one time they told my brother, one of the girls told my brother, Truth or Dare, and he said dare. And she said, I dare you to kiss my underwear. So she drops her pants, and he's like going in for the kiss. Then her dad walks in, starts yelling, what the hell's going on here? And he finds out that they're the ones that started it all, and after that day we never seen them since. I remember that to this very day. But yeah, it was pretty messed up. But after that, we've never seen them since. But yeah, Truth or Dare can get you in a lot of trouble. And there's actually people that take this very seriously. Like, if you don't do the dare, they'll beat you. Like, actual physically beat you. But today we're going to be discussing Truth or Dare. Now, this movie is about a group of friends who get together, go out. I think they go to Mexico. I'm pretty sure. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Your hitchhiking story reminded me of the Wolf Creek movies. I've seen those, yeah. It's exactly like that. Thankfully, it didn't end like that. There is this guy on my end trolling, saying stuff like, show me your titties, but he got bored and left because he probably sad. Well, I don't see none of his stuff coming up, so maybe I've blocked him before and he's still able to, like, watch my video or something. But, anyway, this movie's about a group of friends. They go to Mexico and hang out, and they meet this guy. I can't remember names right now because it's been a while since I've watched the movie. It was about maybe a week ago since I've watched it, so I don't know the names very well. But it's this dude. Doubt you can see with this camera, but that dude right there that kind of resembles Daniel Radcliffe. But they meet him, and he, like, befriends them and stuff like that. Oh, sorry, you're typing. It's Truth or Dare. But he starts befriending them. Seems like a really cool guy, down to earth. Him and the main girl are just talking and chilling. And then they're all kind of like getting together, and he's like, hey, we should play Truth or Dare. And so they all start doing it, and it's, very simple stuff. Nothing real extreme. Nothing really extreme, but then they get to him, and they're like, Truth or Dare, and he says truth. And they say, what did you really want to meet us, or something like that. And then he was like, you seem the perfect kind of people that I could trick. And they're like, what? And then he tells them that he had to find a group of people to play Truth or Dare with to get more people. Otherwise, his friends will die. And then, just by doing that, they each start having these paranormal stuff happen. For example, it goes in the order of how they played it. So when it came to this really cocky guy's turn, he was at this party. It was like a college dorm-like party. People were playing pool, and this girl he thinks is cute. He walks up on her, and he's like, hey, what's up? And then all of a sudden, her face deforms, and it has like this huge, really creepy smile on her face. And she goes, Truth or Dare? And he's like, what? And she says, Truth or Dare? And he's like, oh, you want to play, don't you? Well, dare. And she goes, I dare you to show your junk to everyone in the room. So he gets up on this picnic table. He gets up on the pool table, and he's like getting ready to do it. And these people are like making fun of him, like, I already seen it. And the girls are like, we got to move in closer. We probably won't see it from back here. Just like making fun of him and stuff. Well, he's like, you know what, fuck this, I won't do it. Then all of a sudden, he gets this big old smile on his face. It's like he gets possessed. Then he like walks over to the edge of the table, and there's a pool cube standing straight up. And he's like going to fall on, and the guy's like, whoa, dude, are you okay? Be careful. And then he goes to the other end, and it looks like he trips on one of the pool balls. And he falls down and snaps his neck on the opposite pool table. And he ends up dying. The game is simple for this movie. You do the dare or you die. You tell the truth or you die. End of story. And once it's your turn, you have to do whatever. If it says truth, you have to tell the truth. Otherwise you die. So, get this fixed up real quick here. All in all, it was an excellent movie. It's a little bit slow, so if you guys want like nothing but action, then this movie isn't really the right one for you. But it is made from the people who did Happy Death Day, and it's rated PG-13, which is very weird for a horror movie. But Truth or Dare is one of the best movies I've seen. Has a very good story. The ending blew my mind. I did not expect this movie to end the way it did. I did not expect it at all. But yeah, it had a great actors in it. I love the story. I thought it was intense, but just I wouldn't say that this is like the best movie ever, but based on how it ended, I like kind of figured, oh, it's the stereotypical ending. But then all of a sudden, that ending just gave me so much goosebumps that it made it a good movie. If I had to rate these movies, oh, I don't have Emily. If I wanted to rate Emily, I would give that movie a 10 out of 10 because it was very good. Then I would give Truth or Dare a 7 out of 10 simply because of the ending, but it is pretty slow pace. So, and for it to be PG-13, it kind of held back a lot of like really good scary stuff. But if you want a good story, very very interesting ending, please give this movie a chance. All right, finally, we're coming to near the end of this Strangers Talk. I believe I milked too much of that cow because I don't really have any other interesting stranger stuff. Let's see. Sorry, I was typing. Okay, I heard of that movie. But next up, back in, I want to say 2008 or 2006, one of those two, 2008, we got a movie called The Strangers. Now, The Strangers, I thought was an excellent, give the music to boost it up. But Strangers, I thought, was one of an excellent style horror movies. It was the first time I've ever seen a very quiet like horror movie, and it is one of my biggest fears. The biggest fear I have is someone breaking into the house. Now imagine you're this couple and you're having your honeymoon and everything is okay, and then these people are in your house with masks on trying to kill you. And it has a lot of intense, scary moments, very creepy moments in that movie. I did not, however, like the ending of The First Strangers. Basically, it's about these people who just want to kill people. No reason whatsoever, just they want to kill people. So they get masks and they come after people. And there's an iconic moment in the movie which I think should go down in history of like great horror movies. How they pick their victims is this girl knocks on the door, they answer it, and she goes, "Is Tara home?" Alright, turn that off. They go, "Is Tara home?" And the stranger, or the people are like, "No, I think you got the wrong house." And then the girl just leaves. And I guess that's how they pick their victim. Like, yeah, we should kill these people. But the first movie, I really did not like how it ended. I really did not. And I thought it was stupid. And I just did not like the movie at all. And I gave The Strangers a 4 out of 10. Back when I used to do actual just movie reviews. I gave it a 4 out of 10. Mostly because I loved how it was filmed and how creepy it was. So that's why I got the 4. But the ending killed it for me. Now we have Strangers Prey at Night. Strangers Prey at Night is indeed, I think, a sequel. It's about this family, this mom and dad, their kind of rebellious daughter, and their son. Yeah, I knew you would like the shirt. That's why I wore it. But it's about this family, this mom, this dad. The mom's a redhead, the dad's a dark-haired guy. They have a younger daughter, which, by the way, she played in the Doll episode of Haunting Hour. You know the Goosebumps show made for R.L. Stine called The Haunting Hour? There's an episode, I think it was like episode 1, about a girl, dark-haired girl with a doll. Yeah, that's the main character, the main teenage girl of this movie. But it's her. She's really rebellious. She smokes cigarettes, wears like rebellious women band shirts like Ramones and all that. Ramones ain't a female band. Well, shut up. Who cares? But she's just this typical, emo like, I've got my problems kind of girl. And her brother, he seems more of like a distant kind. He really doesn't like associate with them too much. But they're taking a family road trip and they're wanting to spend quality time with each other before they send their daughter to some kind of like schooling. It's either like a boot camp or some kind of schooling thing. But they arrive at this mobile home park, which has the strangers from the first movie there. They had killed some of the people there already. Well, this family comes there. They get into the checkout place, which nobody's there, and has their key and a sign that says, "Enjoy yourself. Hopefully everything is okay," or something like that. So they get the key. They open up their mobile home, go in. Looks real nice. Everything's good. The dad opens the refrigerator and sees like drinks and like already eaten food in there, and he goes, "Is someone staying here?" And then the knock on the door, the infamous knock on the door. They answer it, and this pretty girl standing there, and she's like, "Is Tara there?" And they're like, "No, I think you got the wrong place." And she just kind of looks at him, and then she watch her leave and get into a van and drives off. From there, it starts really slow. You get to learn the family, you get to see some of that stuff. But the brother and sister, they go out, and they see this other mobile home that's already open. So they go in there and they find these two dead people. Well, it looks like the guy's like jaw is ripped completely off. The other person's kind of got stab wounds on them. They're wearing some kind of like hat or something. It was like a very quick image of it. And the brother and sister are starting to freak out. Well, then one thing leads to another. They get back to the house, and the mom and the daughter stick together while the dad and the son go out and investigate those bodies. Then here's where it all happens. The mom and the daughter see the girl with the mask, which is her right there, and it just goes from there. It's complete action from that moment on. And I really, really don't want to spoil it for you guys if you have not seen this. Alright, now it's time for my official rating. I watched The Strangers back in 2008, and I was disappointed by it. I did not like it. I gave it a 4 out of 10. I watched The Strangers Pray at Night today, before I started the horror vlog. It is a fantastic movie. It's not just good. It's not just great. It's fantastic. I would definitely put this movie as a top 10 favorite horror movies. I believe it's probably going to be number 10 for me, because there are others even better. But this movie deserves my top 10 list. I love the music in it. I love the actors, the way they played the characters. I love every single thing about this movie. It has its suspense, it has its action, it has its gore. But my favorite part, and I will spoil just a little, but my favorite part of this entire movie is when the main girl is above this other girl, one of the strangers. And she says, "Why? Why are you doing this?" The stranger girl, she's laying there and she starts like laughing a little. And she goes, "Why not?" That was my favorite scene of that entire movie. Why not? That's powerful. But the filming style of this movie is excellent. The characters, the way they did the masks and stuff is so iconic. I'm telling you guys, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. I loved it. So, if you have not seen this movie, please go out there and get it. It's worth buying. Like, it's so good. In fact, it's so good, I want to rate the first Stranger movie as like a 9 now, because I can watch them back to back. This is a very good example of what I've been telling in my other horror vlogs. You know how I say, like, a movie is shitty, but sometimes the sequel even makes the original one even better? That's exactly what this did. So when I watch the first movie, I could watch the second movie after and absolutely love it. So, my official rating for The Strangers Prey at Night is a 12 out of 10, because it is so freaking good. So freaking good. I want to watch it again. I might even watch it again after this vlog. That movie is so good. But that's about all I have for you guys today. Please be careful out there. This is a dangerous world that we live in. If you're going to go walking, walk with friends. If, you know, don't hire strangers to watch your kids, for the love of God. I mean, I get it. Sometimes you're in a bind and you need help. But if you're going to hire someone to watch your kid, please look deep into their history. Get someone you know. But yeah, strangers can be anyone. It could be a family member. It could be your next door neighbor. It could be anything. It could be my cat, Mr. Linkers, meowing at my door. If that really is you, Mr. Linkers. I gotta go see if it is. We're gonna end this video with the Winkers. Come on in, Mr. Winkers. Come on in. Come on in. It really was Mr. Winkers. It really was him. Or is it? Because it could still be a stranger. Could be a strange kitty. Are you Mr. Winkers? Yes or no? Mr. Winkers? Mr. Winkers? Hey. Truth or dare? Truth or dare, buddy? Dare? I dare you to go steal Albie's food bowl. Alright, sorry. Let's see. You have sold me on this one as well. Definitely buy it, Isaac. If you have the chance, buy this movie. Like, The Strangers Prey at Night is so good. I know you'll love it, Isaac, because you love those small details in the horror movies and the build-ups and all that stuff. This is right up your alley, dude. This movie is so good. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for participating in the horror vlog. I'm sorry I didn't get to see the troll's comments. But anyway, I love the troll himself. Just people get on there and he was a stranger. There you go. A stranger in my comment section. But please be careful out there with whatever you guys do. Please be careful. And as always, thank you for watching. And I guess... See what Mr. Winkers looks like in this filter? Just like it. See if somebody else commented. No, it was just like... Peace out, man. See y'all in the next video. Or will I? Dum dum dum! That is not the cancel button.